big meta-analysis that we reviewed that found there was no positive benefits of corporal punishment, despite these beliefs that parents have that it is the only way to discipline children. And in contrast, there's a whole heap of different parenting techniques and supports that parents can access that are effective. And so that's probably the key takeaway. The second thing that our review covered was the issue of how it is that you go about making change and whether or not implementing a ban, changing the laws, actually drives change. And what we found was that, yes, in concert with public health strategies, so giving information, giving advice, and most importantly, giving supports for parents about a better way is really important. And then thirdly, the really key data that we reflected on was from the Australian Child Maltreatment Study, and I'm one of the chief investigators on that study, and we found that 61% of our young participants aged 16 to 24 had experienced 4 or more instances of corporal punishment. And it almost doubled the risk of mental health issues such as anxiety and depression for them in young adulthood. So very clear implications that the consequences of corporal punishment are not benign.
I mean, hitting kids is always a very controversial topic, and as we know, and in your report, hitting a child is prohibited in schools and childcare centres, but it is legal at home provided it's within, quote, reasonable limits. How do you define reasonable limits?
Yeah, look, I think that the most important thing is to say that it doesn't work. And so rather than say you can do it a little bit, you can do it a little bit more, that's not really the business that we're in, and that's a matter for, I suppose, the public education campaigns to be able to really sell that message, that even though people will excuse what they think is the right way to parent, when in fact the evidence shows that it's not.
You've got your job ahead of you, though. I mean, there are parents out there who already think the kids are wrapped in cotton wool, and how we actually supposed to instill in kids this sense of discipline when they step outside boundaries, and it's going to be a brave state government that makes it illegal.
Well, that's why I think we need national leadership. We shouldn't just leave it up to individual states. We should actually have our federal government recognise that this is a public health issue. In the same way that, we've taken public health stands on things like, the necessity of, vaccines and COVID masks in relation to, the COVID-19 risks. We've had the same thing in relation to car safety in terms of legislating car seats and so forth. So we just need to have leadership on this.
Professor, good to talk to you. Food for thought.